Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our final series, and what a series it's going to turn out to be. This cannot fail to be fantastic because we have here TSL.Symbol. He is in the blue trunks, he is playing Zerg to the south of Antigua Shipyard versus his opponent, mouzThorZaIN, in the red trunks, playing Terran to the north.
And this is a must-win for both parties here. ThorZaIN lost his first series against MVP, has to come back here if he wants a chance to advance through. And we do have Symbol currently sitting on 1-1 within his group, who, he did manage to pull up that win initially against EGIdrA, but did get a little bit outclassed versus MVP. But he did show a fantastic series against MVP, if he's going to go up against ThorZaIN, this is his best chance, man. I really do believe, especially the way he played against MVP, that he can do it.
I think he can break ThorZaIN. I really do. ThorZaIN is certainly, I would even say, much more patient than MVP, which takes quite a lot. MVP's a very, very patient person. He's just willing to wait for the perfect opportunity to strike and make sure that the engagement goes just in his favor. But we shall see. ThorZaIN with the barracks, an interesting place to put the barracks. He's not even interested in walling off here.
Yeah, I mean, he's not interested in walling off. If any aggression does come, such as a 6 pool, he does have the wall between the refinery, barracks, and center, and then can move around the SCVs, can put Marines straight behind as well. But more importantly is he doesn't want to wall in with the barracks because he just wants a 3 supply depot wall off eventually, and the barracks right next to the command center is the fastest possible time for the SCV to build the barracks. So really economic, focused placement there for ThorZaIN.
ThorZaIN is a scientist. A mad scientist, one might say, but a scientist nonetheless. Symbol's going to go for a hatchery first build, which is entirely standard for this particular matchup. And ThorZaIN isn't exactly known for early game aggression, although every now and again he pulls it out.
Yeah, every now and then, just to keep his opponent honest, so they don't take any unnecessary gambles and something that would pay off against a player that used the same build over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But we do have the gas come down for ThorZaIN, not in with all 3, just in with a couple at the time here. And this means that he won't be able to rush straight for a factory. Will plant down the command center first here. Whether he'll go for a slower factory or whether he'll add on a reactor or tech lab onto the barracks is still a debate here. We actually see ThorZaIN open up with reactor barracks a lot, but it doesn't look like that's the case this time around.
No, he's going to complete his wall off here. The barracks is now in said wall off, but he's not building anything from it just yet, which is interesting because he can. So I have to wonder what he is saving those minerals for. Are we going to go straight into a factory now? But well, he's going to... Okay, no, a factory is going to actually go down there, so a little bit later. And that's going to follow up behind that supply depot. And in the meantime, Symbol's got his gas up, and he's got his spawning pool, and his hatchery now fully functional.
Yeah, and just going back to ThorZaIN, it's interesting, like you said, he didn't build any other Marines, just a single one here, saving money. And this may mean that he grabs a faster third base, or throws down additional barracks a lot earlier here. So what's that SCV going to do? And there it has it. It's going to be a faster third base, I guess.
Yep, I like it. I really like it. This is something that Koreans have been doing an awful lot, and this is something that we're seeing from ThorZaIN as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if he had 3-4 additional Marines, that's almost 200 minerals, 150, 200 minerals, and that's only 200 away from throwing down the command center. So fine-tuning his build is ThorZaIN. And on the other hand, we do have Symbol out of gas. We'll just leaving 1 in, ticking over. It kind of leads to a natural timing to layer if he wants to go up to layer on 2 base, or does kind of open up the baleen nest earlier on as well, if any aggression does come out from ThorZaIN, which is not going to be the case at all with this triple orbital. And he's going to have so many SCVs, and once again, as we saw, MVP in game 1 against Symbol just have so much stuff. And ThorZaIN, second factory coming down.
We never know what to expect with ThorZaIN, do we? ThorZaIN has some really interesting builds, and he varies things up an awful lot. Tech Lab now going down on the barracks over there to try and get himself an upgrade one way or the other, but Lord knows what this means from ThorZaIN. I'm not going to even attempt to guess. What do you reckon?
It looks like Blue Flame, to be honest here. I'd be surprised if it's not. There's no reason to research anything from the barracks if he's going to have a second factory. So the Hellions now poking around to the third base, see no third base. So he knows that he's playing probably against a 2-base layer timing, but he does actually build a third hatchery here instead, and actually still out of gas here. Ticked over to 100. Does he go immediately to layer now? We'll see.
Well, he hasn't done so just yet, and it looks like Blue Flame is absolutely what's going to end up happening here, one would think. Doesn't quite have the gas... No, no, he's going Siege. Okay.
Yeah, Siege is really weird here because it means you either are on an ultra defensive stance, but I guess that makes sense considering he has a third command center. But that means the third command center won't really be in the main base for much longer. It will try to go to that third base really, really soon. And oh no, there's okay, yeah, oh yes, no, doesn't go. There's an opening.
Oh.
There was an opening, but never mind. He didn't quite want to take the risk.
Yep, he's so safe. He didn't want to take it, and yeah, he could have done damage here. He really could have, but. Well, that opportunity has now passed, unfortunately, and he's now just going to relegate them to the role of preventing creep spread so that he can delay the third.
And it looks like ThorZaIN is going to be playing mech this time around, so,
yeah.
you know, copying MVP, but we saw how easy Symbol smashed that down once he knew what was going on. Granted, he doesn't know exactly what he's playing against yet, but soon he will, and whether it'll be as easy as it was against MVP, we'll have to find out, though. We do have the layer finally going down, the Evolution Chamber and Baliness, so it does look like a 2-base spy build coming out from Symbol, but against mech, that's not really good at all.
Now, I have to wonder what Symbol's thinking, seeing a lot of Hellions, and he is seeing a lot. Usually, ThorZaIN, remember we said ThorZaIN always stops on 6 Hellions every game. This is like the one game we've seen where he hasn't. And Symbol knows that there are more than 6 Hellions, so he's got to be thinking, surely, might be some mech involved here. Oh, he's able to shut down the drone as well. That's a nice bit of delaying tactics. Wasn't even able to get in there and actually create an extractor just to save that drone. So that holds things up for Symbol for a good 20-25 seconds. So a nice engagement, and ThorZaIN just landing his third down now. Symbol already knows because there's 2 refineries going up here as well. So ThorZaIN's going to have 6 gas. He's got Thors on the way and +1.
Yeah, seeing the amount of Hellions and then seeing the gas go down so fast, he should know this mech. So we should be seeing a Roach Warren come down shortly. If not, then he's not reading into it properly. But it looks like is he going to, with this drone, be expanding to a new base here? We'll have to follow that. Looks like he is going to. So that's another thing to do with Mech 2. You don't, well, actually hold that thought because Tank is going down in the center there in Symbol. Oh, and a Thor?
Oh, wow. If he loses a Thor there, that'll be disastrous. But there's enough Hellions to start that from happening. It'll need to be fixed up. But it is okay. Losing the tank was certainly sloppy there by ThorZaIN. It was deployed without any kind of assistance. A couple of Hellions next to it would have certainly helped out there.
Yeah, a little bit naughty there by ThorZaIN, but the 4th base does go down for Symbol. And as I was saying, you don't need to, rush up to a big amount of roaches. You can just expand all over the place, and there's nothing mech really can do. 9 Museless coming out, and I think that's all we'll see in this game. As once again, Thors and turrets will be everywhere as they already are, so he's going to have to be tech switching out. Probably a second evolution chamber also, to be honest, if he wants to keep up with those upgrades. But 15 drones in production. Symbol's going to be, shooting so far ahead, but also dealing damage at the same time.
Yeah, it's nice, and we see once again the weaknesses of mech kind of come into play here, because what does ThorZaIN do from this stage? With mech, you've got to do a concerted push. Yes, you can harass with Hellions, but you're not going to be killing any hatcheries with them. And indeed, those Hellions don't actually have Blue Flame at all, so at least the +1 will kick in shortly, but he doesn't have the ability to just go out fast and do a lot of damage. He lacks mobility because he's got to stay with the Thors, especially with Mutas now on the field. Hellions will just get picked off by Mutas if he doesn't do that.
Yeah, they will, and Ventral Sax is coming out just like game 1 of today's, so we will be seeing some Roach drops in the main onto the army, and the Mulus now going into the main, and there is Thor hugging a turret, so it will be safe, but ThorZaIN's really closed down any holes inside of his main natural third, which is working really well for him, and I wouldn't be surprised if 4th command center to come down, because playing mech here, you don't really look for a push, you kind of look to take a 4th base in the center and control the flow of the game instead.
Yeah, he's got those Mutalists caught in a nice little trap there. They can't go anywhere around that area, they'll easily be shut down. He's building 3 Thors at once, and Blue Flame and +2. His tank count is very, very low here, which I view as a little bit risky.
Yeah, it is, because, I mean, he can just get so close with the roaches and deal so much more damage. And Symbol still moving around with these Mutalists, but yeah, I don't even think he's killed anything with them so far this game. But
a Hellion, I think, maybe 1 Hellion.
No, not so good.
No, not really. ThorZaIN's tactic is interesting. He is now changing over to building 3 tanks at once as opposed to 3 Thors at once. His Thor count's going to be at 6, and they're going to have +2. So Mutas are pretty much a non-factor in this engagement now. And I suppose the risk is that if you build too many tanks, then the roach drop comes in and cleans that up, and it also means your forces may be a bit more immobile. But these guys are starting to reach maximum right now, so the composition of ThorZaIN is starting to take shape. It's going to be heavy on the Hellions, needless to say, and just a few more tanks than he has Thors.
And double expansion coming down here for ThorZaIN, but we are going to see a roach drop into the main. There's no turrets, there's a single Thor. A lot of damage is going to be incoming here. And ThorZaIN actually has Hellions doing damage. Did he kill a lot of drones down there? Did you see that?
I actually didn't see that at all. When on earth did that happen? Obviously, very... Yeah, well, we could see he didn't kill all that many. He's only killed about 4 in the process there, so not really a big deal. Well, unfortunately, we did miss that, but we've got Symbol now going for this big drop into the main, and, well, that's one way to exploit the immobility of Mech, and he smashes his way through that Thor as well. He's going to go right for the main mineral line.
Yeah, he can pick off factories, command centers, SCVs, anything he chooses here, and this is awesome because he has 1,000 minerals, 600 gas in the bank, can easily rebuild every single unit he loses here. Armory goes down, and this is an amazing move here by Symbol, exactly like he did against MVP, and ThorZaIN again has no answer, just like MVP.
Well, yeah, because it takes ages to get your Thors back into position, and by that point, the Rotors can just leave. It's not a big deal. And how do you even deal with that? Even enough missile turrets isn't going to stop a drop of that size. He's able to at least shut down one of those there, but the damage has most assuredly been done. We've got 8 SCVs down, the armory taken out, this factory on fire as well, losing add-ons, and of course delaying any attempt by ThorZaIN to push out.
And Hellions down in the bottom. The second wave do actually come in and do a little bit more damage than the first one. End up killing about 6 drones there. It's not the biggest, but it's still pretty good to slow down the Zerg play. But 21 drones, nice reaction.
Yeah, it's like, oh, right, 23 drones, in fact. That's a huge number there. Interestingly enough, we're going to see triple starport added on here. So, possibly a transition to mass Banshee, maybe.
Yeah, well, not really Banshee. I guess the right answer here is for Vikings, just in case of Broodlords, because we do see the Hive coming down. And looking at ThorZaIN's vision, he doesn't know about the Hive, but he can suspect it coming down now. Because ground, I mean, the army that ThorZaIN has and is building towards will be anything. But what it won't beat is that Broodlord composition, and oh my god, Symbol is going to launch right on top of the tanks.
And they are, well, he doesn't really want to be deployed in this situation. He needs to be undeployed to gun that down, but a nice concave there by ThorZaIN with tanks, but there are just simply too many roaches, I feel. Huge amounts of damage being dealt, and trading roaches for tanks at this stage with that many bases, it's a non-issue. You can throw those away, no problem at all, and he might even take the planetary out here.
Yeah, it has to get cancelled and lifted up, and SCV's gutted here. 12 Corruptors on the way. The greatest Spire now starting, and Symbol borrows his roaches and will pop up because he's going to take a fight, man. These Thors, yeah, sure, he's going to kill every one of them.
Yeah, he should be able to decimate that. I mean, the Thors are doing a good job. They're well upgraded, but they're just being overwhelmed, and does he really care to lose like 20 roaches for 3 Thors? That's fine. He's not worried about that. He can replace that without a problem, and ThorZaIN's supply count has dipped pretty low. And as you correctly said, it's all about the Vikings now. 3 starports with reactors. You can pump out 6 at a time for that Broodlord transition, which is on its way.
Yeah, and this is the best response here by ThorZaIN. Has to deal with it somehow, and I mean, look how much money Symbol has. He has 5,000 minerals, 1,500 gas. He's going to make so many Broodlords immediately. And ThorZaIN now is pushing. He has scanned the Greater Spy morphing, so he knows he has a timing, but does he have enough units out? He pushes the roaches back from the middle, but
lost all his Hellions.
Is he going to get there in time?
I don't know, because he's lost all his Hellions. I mean, really all you need to do at this stage is just build Lings, and this army dies because the Hellion counts at 3. There's 12 Broodlords on the way. Oh look, Lings, 72 of them in fact coming in, and that will crush this army, no problem.
Yeah, Broodlordlings will crush through this so easily, and he does have, well actually how many Corruptors does he have? He has 0. Okay, 0 Corruptors. That may be something he wants to look at, or at least Infestors. He does have Pathogen Glands finished, but 12 Broodlords alone is pretty risky here.
It is, because that Viking count will start to tear through it there. There is +2 armor on those Broodlords. They're going to be difficult to take down, and armor upgrades particularly good for that. And any attempt to drop into the base now has been shut down. ThorZaIN's is very much prepared for that, and the Broodlords will go in, but they're not taking a lot of damage from those Vikings. But there are a hell of a lot of Vikings. There's 12, so the Broodlords are going to go down there. Lings and Roaches now moving in to try and clean up this force by ThorZaIN. It will overwhelm it and do a lot of damage, but it's not quite enough to kill it.
Oh my god, I can't believe the Broodlords are all going down here. The Vikings are like, they scanned in front of them, were like, you don't have Infestors, you don't have Corruptors? Alright, I'm going to kill everything.
Yeah, and ThorZaIN, his triple starport, has saved him the game here. He is now so far ahead of his opponent in terms of army count. It's absurd, and I can't believe Symbol just threw that away.
Yeah, he's building 11 Corruptors now, but it's a little bit too late now as the Thor army, the mech army of ThorZaIN's marching down, and this is where the expansions are for Symbol, and he knows he's in trouble throwing down additional spine crawlers, and if he loses this, yes, he has a decent bank, but he won't have the income anymore.
He can't even build any more units at the moment. He is actually supply blocked, and he's got lava to spend, but he can't do anything with it. He's lost a lot of overlords in the process, and ThorZaIN, with a brilliant gambit and perhaps an overcommitment to Broodlords without any backup on the ground, has potentially cost Symbol the match. This base is going to go down immediately. That setup is incredibly dangerous, and I thought, oh, there's an army coming. It really isn't. It's a lot of Corruptors and not much else. 5 Broodlords, certainly, but even then, they're not going to deal all that much damage with tanks and Hellions deployed to try and protect that. A Ling run by comes in and is going to try and work its way through the rocks here to do damage to ThorZaIN's third as ThorZaIN smashes through the expansion to the southwest.
Yeah, the Broodlord's now turning around, and I think he's just going to give up here. What's he doing? All right, now, what is he doing? Back and forth, and... Symbol.
He's all over the place at the minute, isn't he? Tanks undeployed, and the Broodlord's going to do good damage here, certainly. The Vikings landed. There's so many Vikings, and he's now actually microing the Vikings up as they take damage. He kills all of the Lings with the landed Vikings, and even the Roaches might end up falling here.
Wow, it's pretty sick micro there by ThorZaIN, mousesport's finest Terran player, and he's repairing the Vikings as well and lands to clean up the Roaches. Awesome use there, look at that, oh my god.
That is fantastic play there by ThorZaIN. What a great defense with these Vikings. And while the mech army did get cleaned up, Symbol has lost 2 expansions. How many mining bases is Symbol on? Half a mining base right now.
Yeah, it's really, really bad now for Symbol, who ThorZaIN's now taking the top right-hand side. He has command centers everywhere and has 140 supply. Not the biggest supply count, but he is and will have a better income very shortly. Symbol does have the bigger army head-to-head and the scarier army. But as long as ThorZaIN sits patiently here and spoons it up, then he's going to be looking great as he adds on 4 more Thors and additional upgrades as well.
This is ThorZaIN in a nutshell right here. This is a ThorZaIN game through and through. It's innovative, it's interesting, and it is very slowly paced. He's got this massive Viking army here with +2 ship weapon coming in and about to complete. Nothing is going to stop that many Vikings, I feel. They've got such a range advantage. Even 13 Corruptors are probably going to be ripped to shreds by a Viking count of that size, and the Broodlord count is not that high.
Oh, and ThorZaIN knows he has to spread out those Vikings. Look at them spreading out across like multiple screens here. One fungal could end his entire game, and here comes the biggest battle of this series for sure.
And the concave is massive there. The fungal finally goes down on the right flank. The left is firing. He's got to watch out for those infested Terrans that are about to pop up and start to rip through there. And the Viking count has now been severely depleted, but he's still got 11, and those Broodlords can't quite get to grips with the army yet.
Yeah, he's moving back away from the infested Terrans, doing a lot of damage with their +2 upgrade there. But is there enough fungal growth infestors left? There's not too much energy. Corruptors, though, still with good upgrades also here.
Yeah, that's very, very true. I would like to actually see him even fixing those Vikings on the ground there. But the Thors are now moving to crush the remainder of the ground army and as well do damage to the units that are in the air. Does he have enough? Apparently, ThorZaIN believes not, and actually GG's out.
Yeah, let's have a look at this. 6 Broodlords left. Corruptors now taking control of the area. Has no really anti-air, and Thors are good, but not good enough at this stage of the game. And looks like Symbol narrowly escapes defeat there by ThorZaIN.
Yeah, narrowly is definitely one way of putting it. Now, what would have happened there, I suppose? These Thors were going to go down. There's really no question about that. They would take a lot of damage. Thor's not so great against, even with +3, not so great against Broodlords, unfortunately. So maybe he takes out 1 or 2 more Broodlords, or takes out a couple of Corruptors here. And then he loses this middle base. It'll take a while, but he'll lose that eventually. And then he's on Mining Base at the top, and his third is pretty much mined out. So, yeah, he would have been back on 1 mining base. He had the CC here, but he couldn't really safely deploy it anywhere. It was only 1 mining base for Symbol as well, actually. He just sorted out this hatchery down to the bottom. I don't know. It's the GG timing, I suppose, is a little bit questionable, but you can definitely see why he did it.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, if only his vehicle, or not vehicle, sorry, the plating for the ships and also the ship weapons had researched, it would have helped out a lot. But
yeah.
Corruptors at 2-1, they're already really difficult to kill. And then there's the Transfuse coming in, there's Fungal Growth coming down, there's Infested Terrans coming down. It really does make it difficult because you have one source of damage through, or you can add Thors in as well, but they're really dealing with a lot of other stuff at that time.
Yeah.
But you have one big source of anti-air through Vikings and so many other options for Zerg to use to actually have their own output of damage there, and it was a little bit too much there for the Mouse Sports player.
Unfortunately, because he played an incredibly good game there against Symbol. That was some fantastic back and forth macro action. Good TVZ, exceptional TVZ, I've got to say. Some really awesome flair there from ThorZaIN too, and a great understanding of this matchup. But, unfortunately, it was not quite enough for the Swedish player. Will it be enough to take him through the next game? We're about to find out, because if not, then the foreigners are not looking so great in Group B. Not at all. We'll find out very shortly right after this break. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the series between mouzSport's ThorZaIN and the Blue Trunks, playing Terran to the northeast of GSL Daybreak, versus his opponent, TSL.Symbol, in the Red Trunks, playing Zerg to the southwest.
And after a very close end fight there in game number 1, which really could have gone either way if somebody had just a handful more of units. Unfortunately, that was not the case. But will ThorZaIN be disrupted by that at all? Will he continue on his spoon-like path? Because he has to. He really does have to. Because like we said earlier, he's 0-1 down in the group. He needs to pull a win here. He needs to take this series back. And Daybreak is a fantastic stage for him to do so on. It's such a slow, methodical, positionally based map. This is just playing to all his strengths.
Yes, it certainly is. That should help him out an awful lot here, and it was really close. And it's great to see that as well. It really, really is awesome to see how close a game that was. ThorZaIN certainly has the capability of taking this, but Symbol is once again showing his dominance. That was not a... There was not a lot of flair there for Symbol. He did go for his Roach Drop once again, which seems very, very effective against mech, and it also did a lot of damage in the main base there, but it wasn't this big sort of flashy play that we've seen from Symbol. It was really solid macro-based play. He did make some mistakes with engagements, and losing all of those Broodlords completely turned the game around. His supply plummeted. It was ridiculous to lose all those Broodlords, but I don't think he was expecting triple reacted Starport from ThorZaIN there.
Yeah, I mean, he had no idea about it and was like, alright, this guy's playing mech, he's using all his gas and tanks and Thors, I'm just going to surprise with Broodlords. That was not the case, as those 12 Broodlords were instantly shot down, and ThorZaIN, that would have been a fantastic game change there for ThorZaIN, and he would have been like, wow, I escaped in that game, but unfortunately for him, that was not the case. There, Symbol did manage to close up, and we do have Symbol open up hatch first, then extractor, and then by the look spawning pool here. So showing us now that he does want to get the extractor down, but the refinery from ThorZaIN was a little bit later here, and that obviously shows us that once again he's going for that earlier command center play.
Yep, economic focus play by ThorZaIN is not really a particularly big surprise, but his builds are very exact. And you can read an awful lot from seeing slightly later refinery, especially you can reveal, you can read more from them only being 2 SCVs in the refinery as well.
Yeah, and now he throws in third as that command center's up and running now, and he gets that supply depot down. So he will be throwing down the factory just very shortly here, and then just continue on a normal path. And once again, you know, because of this later gas and only being 2 then 3, and only getting a single marine, it looks like he'll be going for a third command center as well to follow this up. So, you know, beautiful play or beautiful build by ThorZaIN. It did give him a lot of strength in his last game. due to the fact that he had so many SCVs, a fantastic economy, but I don't think mech is the way to play, especially not on this match, on this map, sorry. And he has to go and play a very similar game to how MVP crushed SKMC on here just by going triple CC into regular bio play.
Yeah, and will he do it? Will he do it? We shall see. ThorZaIN's got some interesting ideas of his own as to how to play this matchup, but as we are seeing, the second command center coming down. So I'm liking that an awful lot, and that should put him in a good position going into this matchup.
Yeah, we'll see whether he takes a second gas shortly. And he is going to take a second gas by the looks of it. That SV is sat on the refinery, sat on the Vespene geyser. Oh no, well I guess not. The guy goes back to work.
It's
so
an undecisive SCV, indecisive in fact. I am so indecisive with my word that I chose the wrong one. Oh my.
Roach Warren down. Oh god. Okay, ooh. Roach Warren comes down here for SKMC, and you know he's in gas with 3. Roach production can't really be that high on 1 gas though. I mean, he can build like 6 to 8, but not higher than that. So we'll see if he decides to just stick on the 1 gas and then pull out and just reinforce with links from here. But this is pretty nice here from SKMC, really changing it up.
Yeah, and it's also going to shut these Hellions down pretty damn fast as well. There's 2 making their way across the map, but eventually they're going to be met with roaches. The Roach Warren is about to complete as soon as these 2 Hellions arrive here. The Creep Tumor is down, and this is a difficult map to deny spread to the 3rd on as well, because by the time the Hellion comes out, the Creep's already halfway to the ramp, and you've got to be very, very cautious with how you do it. 9 roaches and 6 lings coming out. The heat is being turned on here.
Yeah, he stopped drone production at 26 here, which is even lower than the majority of all-ins. You see a lot of all-ins around 28 to 30 drones, so he's really going for it here. And we do have Siege Tech coming down. We have Hellions out as well. They do have map control and will give ThorZaIN a lot of time to just sit back and see this. Look at the time. The Hellions now see the roaches, and ThorZaIN's like, all right, it's coming. And he says it very slowly, like builds his bunker and gets his first tank up. But unfortunately, he's supply blocked. Can't get that tank out.
Yeah, that's not ideal at all. And did he... Oh, did the CC just finish? Either he CC'd or did he supply drop, actually? I'm trying to find it. No, the CC... Something must have finished because...
Yeah, it's just a supply depot just next to the main. Just finished. But he supply blocked again at 57.
Yeah, that's true. That's going to hold him up just a little bit here. Not a huge amount, though. I mean, his supply depots are kind of finishing at the right time. I also like the fact that SKMC only showed 3 roaches there. He didn't show the lings at all. So ThorZaIN's like, oh yeah, there's something coming, but he doesn't know the strength of it just yet. And now it's going to come down. And the roaches eat the first volley from the Hellions there, which is absolutely fine. Ling's looking for position, but ThorZaIN's nicely walled in here. And will he be able to get a run by and actually take that tank out? That's what he gets the surround on. He should be able to take the tank. He's able to do so, but the roaches are kind of floundering here against that bunker with that many repairs going on. But I think that SKMC's just going to say, you know what, screw that. I'm not even going to bother going for the bunker. I'm going to actually just menace your command center here.
Yeah, it has so many lava available to build drones. Look at that, 16 drones just come out here, and even though he's doing damage, ThorZaIN cannot mine from this natural location. Yep. With 16 drones, the income's going to double very shortly here for SKMC, especially if he keeps building drones behind this. A macro hatch as well. Yeah, really, really nice play here. Aggression from SKMC, followed up by a regular standard play.
Yeah, it's nice. It's not an all-in. He wants to take that tank out as well, but the repairs are coming down nice and quickly there by ThorZaIN, so he keeps those alive. A couple of Hellions picked off here and there. SKMC is still being a menace in this mineral line. It will now finally be cleaned up, but the attack certainly did its job, I feel, and the follow-up with the drones was absolutely fantastic there from SKMC, and he's right back on the field. His 3rd base is now up and ready to go.
Yeah, he's right back in the field with his economy, but he really didn't slow down ThorZaIN that much. I mean, he prevented a lot of mining time, but only killing 5 SCVs is a little bit small for that investment there. Yeah. And you can see by the fact that, you know, ThorZaIN's still ahead in supply. He's building another command center already. That's the 4th command center. Wow. All right, ThorZaIN.
He's not messing around, is he?
But the problem is that ThorZaIN's revealed his strategy. That's the biggest problem here. SKMC had to adapt a lot later on last time. This time he already knows that this is mech. He already has double upgrades coming. He already has Roach Warren coming. Layer and ready for roach speed. So he will be prepared a lot earlier and faster than the previous.
And Hellions now moving around to potentially do some damage here. But this Roach is already there. The Symbol knows that the third is always vulnerable to a little bit of harassment at this stage of the game. And he knows the Hellions are out. So Symbol should be able to shut that down without any issue whatsoever. And double upgrades have now begun. +1 and +1. But ThorZaIN doesn't slack on upgrades either. He's going to go for +1 and is now adding a Thor to the mix as well.
Yeah, and ThorZaIN's just going to be sitting here until he gets the 200 supply, especially with the 4th command center. And it is okay to play mech here. The reason why I don't like it is there's so many run areas here on this map that unless it's at like the 30-minute mark where mech is so strong, but until that point there's a lot of area that ThorZaIN has to cover with very minimal units if we do see Symbol be aggressive, which he is. Ventral Sax is on the way. Imagine dropping in the main and then running on the third. That's a big wide area compared to a map like Antigua Shipyard where it's a lot easily defended.
That's very true. Armory coming down here for ThorZaIN, a second armory to make sure that he can keep up with those upgrades. A couple of tanks coming in, 2 more factories also being added on. Very economically focused build here by ThorZaIN. He is fortunate that the aggression hasn't come in yet, but 16 Roaches are building, and Roach speed as well as Ventral Sax is almost done. So he's going to be looking to start to pull ThorZaIN apart just a little bit on the third and possibly into the main as well. We've also got good overlord positioning from Symbol. As always, he knows exactly what his opponent's got, more to the point where it is.
And it looks like Symbol is not even looking for long-term here. He hasn't continued with upgrades. He hasn't taken gas on the natural either, which is a little bit weird. And he's just building nothing but units. And it feels like he's seen the 4th command center. He knows about the 3rd and may just look to jump on top of this in the middle here. You know, he's not really playing long-term at all. And this could be dangerous for ThorZaIN, who doesn't have really any anti-air. Are Thor really going to stop all these overlords and roaches? No. I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe he can stop them with the 3 armories that he's built, which I don't remember seeing all that many triple armory builds before.
Yeah, that's really weird. I mean, if he wants to start, you know, airport weapons really early, that's really bad.
Weapons.
So.
Yeah, I love that
ship
one.
Weapons.
Yeah, that's the ghetto version of it. Airport weapons. You just strap a knife to a Boeing 747 and aim it at the overlords. That would be more effective than that one Thor he's got at the minute.
Well, look at this, man. This is so deadly.
Yeah, there are a lot of missile turrets, and, well, it may be 1 missile turret, so there's not all that many. Thor's now coming around the flank here. The drop comes in, and that's a lot of damage being done. He's going to take the Thor out. He's taking the tanks out as well, and this base is under dire threat.
Yeah, ThorZaIN just overextending a little bit here, trying to take a 4th base at 14 minutes. It's not real. I mean, it's okay if the units were on the ground, but still then it's still a 50-50 decision. But when they come from the air and they can't be touched before they do damage, it's just so easy for Symbol to crush through that
Symbol's
position.
got 43 Roaches against 4 Hellions and 2 Marines. There's a couple of tanks on the field, but if Symbol just go for it right now, completely gut the economy of ThorZaIN. He hasn't touched the 3rd yet, which actually I kind of view as a mistake. He really should be. He wants to go in for the kill right about now. A big Roach drop on top of ThorZaIN again, which is that's just going to destroy him. And that's the GG right there. Whoa.
Wow.
That was... Symbol adapts very readily to the style of ThorZaIN and absolutely shreds him. This has not been a good day for the foreigners, man. It has not.
No, not today. Not the last day that we did on this Group B now, as both foreigners is 0-2 in the group. And if you think about the foreigners in the Group A as well that we had Todd go out bottom, Rhett managing to kind of equal up with Boxer and Puma, yep. But, well, it's looking like we could see 4 out of 4 foreigners go out if this trend continues. And ThorZaIN, alongside EGIdrA, still have so tough games to come up.
Yeah, they really do, and we should probably round up what we've seen of the group so far now that we're getting an idea of what the field is like. So,
I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, what we can say is that you've got EGIdrA and ThorZaIN covered at the bottom, 0-2. ThorZaIN has at least taken a map, if I recall. No, it actually hasn't, has he? I don't think he has.
He lost 0-2 versus MVP.
Yeah, so he hasn't taken a map either. Yep, not a single map taken by a foreigner in Group B. We've then got MVP, who has taken 2 games thus far against ThorZaIN and against Symbol. Has dropped a single map thus far. Symbol has played 3 of his 4 games in the group. Only has to play against MC. And he's won 2 series and dropped 1 to MVP. MC has only played 1 series thus far against EGIdrA, and he is currently 1-0. So currently the top of the group is MVP and SKMC, then MC, and then you've got ThorZaIN and EGIdrA both equal at the bottom.
Yeah, not looking so good there. Not looking so good for the foreigners. I mean, there's been a lot of debate this year, you know, Koreans versus foreigners, and this tournament is so stacked. It's got the best players in the world, and it's highlighting the worrying issue.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And SKMC's domination of ThorZaIN in Game 2 shows a very rapid adaptation to what his opponent was doing. It really does. It's like the triple command center, the MVP style, I suppose. And SKMC, it's like, I know how to beat this. I'm going to go for an aggressive push initially, and then I am going to drone the hell up on 3 bases, and then I'm going to go for this big roach drop, which seems like an amazing way, I might add, to deal with mech. It really is incredibly effective.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just an evolved way to deal with it, because usually we see Zerg players just roaches on the ground, and SKMC's like, no, I'll put him in the air, and it is so efficient and so effective. And as we clearly saw in every game that he played against mech, 3 games out of 3 he won against mech by using this today against MVP and ThorZaIN. But reaching the halfway point now in Group B, the foreigners are not out yet, and when I say foreigners, I mean EGIdrA and ThorZaIN. They still have a chance, but they have to rely on results now, because the best they can do is 2-2 in the group, and as we saw in Group A, it does rely on groups and also map score. Both of these guys being 0-4 does not help.
No, it doesn't. ThorZaIN perhaps has a shot at it. He is going up against MC. He can do it. We know his TVP is legendary. It's incredibly good. So maybe he can pull that off. And then, of course, he ends up at least with 1 game. And then he goes against EGIdrA, who... Can he beat EGIdrA? Yes, yeah. I would say so. With ThorZaIN's current form versus EGIdrA, it'll certainly be a close-fought match. And then, if you look at what EGIdra's got left, he's got to beat ThorZaIN, and he also has to beat MVP. That... I don't know, just the chances of EGIdrA going through are, at the moment, almost non-existent after his form in these games. We shall see. Maybe he's able to pull it back, but I think it's looking very grim for the foreigners in Group B.
Yeah, I mean, they're both not out, but only one can go through, of course, because they have to face up against each other. But with MC for ThorZaIN, I mean, that could be a possible win for him. And I think ThorZaIN has the more likelihood to go through. Facing MC, he could take a win there, and then probably take a win against EGIdrA. But EGIdrA has to play MVP, man. He has to play one of the best Terran players in the world, and then has to play the Spoon. And you know, it's not looking so good. But on the other hand, SKMC 2-1. Now, will we see SKMC go through? I mean, this is what we talked about before. If he advances through this group, he could very well go and win the entire thing here.
It's a really good display here by SKMC, but he does still have quite a bit to go, because he does have to face up against MC.
Yeah.
And what we haven't seen a lot from SKMC is his ZvP. We don't know how good it is. The only real example that we've seen was against Genius, and that was a whitewash. So, will he be able to take on someone of the caliber of MC in MC's current form? Debatable, to say the least. And we may see an MVP and MC advancement from this group, which I think would be great for a lot of the fans. They really want to see that. To me, it will be slightly disappointing, because SKMC has been showing a great amount of flair and an awful lot of promise.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that, and we'll just hope so and see how he continues for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, we shall. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching IronSquid, is brought to you by Astro Gaming and Twitch.tv. Do remember to check out IronSquid.tv for all of the updates, the schedule, the VODs, the Facebook and Twitter pages are also available there. You can follow myself, Total Biscuit, and Apollo at DApollo1337 on Twitter. We will always let you know when the shows are coming on the air. We air on Wednesdays and on Sundays, so just keep an eye out for that. And there are rebroadcasts both before the show and a couple of hours after the show if you happen to miss it, or indeed if you happen to be in the US, especially on a Wednesday where the time is, we know, just a little bit awkward for you guys. So thank you very much for watching once again. Some fantastic games, as to be expected from this amazing tournament. My name has been Total Biscuit.
And I've been DApollo.
And we shall see you next time.